So we're here for Business During Hours, and we're going to have helping you survive tips for working securely from home, because we are doing so much more of that now than ever, probably anybody's ever done in their entire lifetime, me included. And so if you have a question during the presentation, we're going to utilize the chat feature. If you're able to use the chat, just type in your message, and I'll make sure James and John get those messages. But if you don't have access to typing, then just unmute yourself when there's a pause and ask your question. If you don't have a question during the presentation, we will have a little bit of time at the end for questions. So if you think of something later, don't worry, we'll make sure they get answered. And then of course, you'll be able to contact John Harmon and James Parsons with Computer Solutions after the presentation anytime. I'm sure they'd be happy to help you. And they're new chamber members, so welcome to the chamber, and also welcome to your first Business During Hours with us, John and James. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having us. All right.
Turn it over to you.
All right, we'll go ahead and get started then. All right, does everybody see our presentation there?
Not yet.
There we go.
Getting there.
All right, so this is working from home and you, tips for securely working from home. All right, so the things that you need to keep in mind with this is, of course, from working from home is protecting your files and devices, protecting your wireless network, and making smart security your business as usual. So we protect your files and devices. There's a few simple steps to start with. Of course, always try to keep your software updated. This is important, especially for security purposes. It includes all your apps, web browsers, operating systems. Set updates. You can set updates to also happen automatically. Also, securing your files. Make sure you back up your important files offline on an external hard drive or the cloud. Make sure your paper files are also secure, whether it be a lockbox or a file cabinet. Always require passwords. This is for all laptops, tablets, and smartphones. And of course, don't ever leave these things unattended. Too many things can go wrong, if someone gets a hold of your information that way. Of course, there's encryption. Encrypting things in case someone does get a hold of it makes it very difficult to get in, to almost impossible. Encrypt your devices and other media that contains anything sensitive and personal. Includes laptops, tablets, smartphones, removable drives, backup tapes if you go that far, and of course cloud storage, but anything like that can be encrypted to that point in case you do lose it somewhere, someone does get it. There's also multi-factor authentication. Require that basically you require it for access to areas of your network or sensitive information. It requires an additional step beyond logging in with a password. Basically, you can get a code that may be sent to your phone to make sure it is you that you're logging in for. And it's only temporary, and these things cycle through. It can be on a code on the smartphone or a key that can be inserted on the computer. John, is there anything else you might be able to add to this?
No, not at this point, but this is a very important thing, especially when you're out and about at home or in the field. You really want to ensure that you have multi-factor authentication enabled. Most people have seen this in action from like their banks or financial institutions. They all do it now. So it needs to be put into play on your computers when you're at home as well.
Is there a special software for that you would recommend?
There's quite a few of them. This is the one that we use.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead, James.
So yeah, so of course you can protect it with a simple access, for powerful access to security. It's modern, it's designed. You can use this, as I said, with a smartphone. There's also a little device that you can use. We offer it for about $3 a month. You
can put that on your phone as well as your computer?
Yes.
So does that mean when someone logs onto your laptop or your computer, then it'll tag your phone or something so that you have to
put a number in for it to actually grant access to it.
Is that the same?
Once you log into your Go ahead.
Yeah.
I was just going to ask before we got too far about the encryption. Is that different than encrypting your computer?
Yes. Yeah, Duo can work a couple of ways. When you log in on your device, you put your username and password in, and it's going to pop up a screen after that and ask you how you want to enter that security code. You want to get it on your smartphone pushed out to it, or do you want to use a little key fob from your keychain and enter the 6-digit code from there? And all these guys typically work the same.
I've seen that when I've like logged into, like you said, like our bank or, you know, some sensitive places where sensitive information is, where it'll send a code to my phone and I have to type that in the computer
Right.
before I can move on. Same thing.
That's same idea, yeah.
All right. So of course, next is looking at protecting your wireless network. These are things that you can do at home. Of course, it does begin at home. You got an understanding how the wireless network works also is a good thing to know. Going wireless generally requires connecting an internet access point, like a cable or DSL modem, to a wireless router, which sends a signal through the air, sometimes as far as several hundred feet. Any device within range can pull a signal from the air and access the internet. Unless you take certain precautions, anybody nearby can use your network. That means your neighbors or any hacker nearby can piggyback on your network or access information on your device. If an unauthorized person uses your network to commit a crime or send spam, the activity can be traced back to you. All right. Once you go wireless, you should encrypt the information you send over your wireless network so that nearby attackers can't eavesdrop on these communication. Encryption scrambles the information and sends a code that is not accessible to others, using encryption as the most effective way to secure network from your intruders. Wireless routers often come with encryption features turned off. You must turn these on. The directions that come with your router should explain how. If they don't, you need to go look at the website.
Can you explain what encryption means to me? I guess I'm not sure what that word might mean. Can you explain that?
You want to get that, John, or you want me to get it?
Or
I guess explain the encryption difference, I guess, between what we use on a wireless network versus what we also have on a phone. Or you know, a computer or so forth. I guess the difference I can explain, like on your computer, when you encrypt it, it encrypts the hard drive. So it keeps things from being pulled up unless you have the correct password for it.
Okay.
What your router is doing is encrypting this information as it passes through the internet to where you're trying to go to use the device. So having that encryption on keeps anyone from, say, if they were able to get onto your network, from seeing the information that's going through.
So I need to go check and see if it's turned on or not at my wireless
Yeah.
router, because I don't even know that. That's good. That's good.
And so most folks don't, especially for home routers. I mean, if you have a business router at work and you have a company like ours set it up, of course, we're going to have that set up to do that automatically there. But home routers don't always have that automatically set up.
And that's different than the password to log onto the wireless, right?
Yes.
Okay.
All right. Also limit the access to your network. You can only allowing only specific addresses to access the network. You can always use MAC filtering as well, which basically you would go into your router and program each individual device by its MAC address to be able to get on there. What I've done at home also is I've set up the guest network that my router allows for. So that's what my son uses and so forth. Well, I use the regular network to do my business there, so folks can't see it. So of course, securing your router, change the name of the router from the default. That was a good idea of that. And of course, to change the router's preset passwords. Turn off any remote management features. In other words, anything that you can manage this from other places being cut off will make it harder for someone to get in to take control of your router as well. Log out as administrator. So if you have a couple of different accounts there to be able to get in to do things, coming in as an administrator, and if you leave it open that way, if someone can get in that way, they got total control. always keep it up to date. Always try to keep an eye on the router, log into it periodically. Sometimes it'll come up and tell you, hey, there's a update to the firmware. And usually it's just a click of a button and it will update from the company's firmware for that router. And when you secure the router, don't forget to secure your computer as well. Anything to add there, John?
And I was just going to say that the preset passwords that are put on most routers, most tech guys know what those are. And, you know, we can go out on Main Street or even pull into somebody's driveway for that matter and log into the routers with the admin and admin for the username and password, like most of them are set to, and you can get right into those routers. I mean, it's nothing to see that happen. You go out to restaurants, I'd say a quarter of the restaurants we go to, they don't reset the admin password on it, and you can log right into them. So really pay attention to that.
I'm pretty sure we've not done that at my house. I think we use the same password that we were given when we set it up. That's scary.
Yeah.
I know what I'm doing tonight when I get home.
Yeah. Of course, protect your network during mobile access, you know, using a strong password on any app on the phone to access your network. Password protect your phone and other mobile devices. Also considering using a VPN, which is a virtual private network. It extends a private network across public network, enables users to send and receive data access shared on public networks if their computing device is already directly wired into a connection. Applications running across VPNs may therefore benefit from the functionality, security, and the management of the private network. Encryption is common, although it's not always added into the VPN services that you use. All right, so the next is making smart security your business as usual. Don't get phished. Anybody out there that doesn't know the definition of phishing? Phishing is basically an attack where someone tries to use manipulation to get your information. Say they may send you an email that looks very official, and it's not. If you click on it and go and put your personal information in, they have it. As I said, you may get it through an email or a text. It'll definitely look real. It'll almost always be urgent, and you try to figure out what would happen next. There's been jobs that I've worked at where they have sent these from work just to test us with. And one of the common ones was having a local sheriff's department send you say that they have that you got a ticket and that you must immediately pay this ticket or have to go to court or have a warrant for you. I believe John even knows a couple other examples of that as well. You want to share it with us?
Yeah, the common one I see here is they'll send one out from the local bank like Wells Fargo, and it looks like you need to reset your username and password. The emails have the Wells Fargo logos on it. It looks official. When you go to the website that you click on, it looks like an official Wells Fargo site. And you type in your username and password, and it doesn't do anything except for the hacker. It gives them your username and password for your account, and right in they go. And if like me, that $1.95 I have in my account is going to be gone.
Of course, one of the other things is also beware of public Wi-Fi. That's also a risky thing to do business on or work with. I mean, it's not secure. If you do, if you have to use a VPN or encryption, I mean, this includes anything from coffee shops to if you're at a hotel. And, any of these things are not quite that secure. We also do offer a remote solution for this, like working out of the office. And this is things that we can do to help. We do have a solution to do this, where basically it's just like logging into your office from home on a secure connection to be able to do work just like you're at your work computer. We do offer that service at about $10 a month. You can do this while traveling or at home or anything else. And of course, this is brought to you by us at Computer Solutions. Also got my information, a lot of it from the Federal Trade Commission. And is there any questions?
All right, I put a couple in there, but I just did that so I wouldn't forget them, but I think we've answered mine. I'm gonna take us off the shared screen. Hold on, if it'll let me.
Do I need to stop that from here?
I've got it. All right. So for those that are still on the call, what do y'all have any questions or concerns, or have you run into anything that you think? We got two experts on the call here that could probably help us out. I was telling James earlier when we were talking that we got an email that said something about, I think it was like a phishing email, but it prompted us to go in and change a lot of our passwords. We didn't click on anything or go into anything, but it was just a weird email that my husband, Christian, he's like, I've changed everything. So I don't even know what they are anymore. I've got to go and get them all like memorized again. I don't know. But like our banking and some of our more, our credit card and things like that we use on a frequent basis. So people are definitely out there. Do you see it? Like, I know we get phone calls at the chamber, especially like a lot of older people, elderly, who are not as sophisticated online, and they get like phone calls where it's more phone calls probably than computer, but some that are on the computer get those, they kind of get into those scams a lot easier. Do you have any tips for folks like that might call us or have those kind of problems?
Just to be careful with it. I mean, I've also known of people to go to like antique sites that would be able to, click on a thing to download a coupon, and what they've actually downloaded was ransomware. And so what that does is it'll encrypt your system where someone else holds the key, and they will ask you to pay them, and usually it's Bitcoin, to be able to, release all your information. And I mean, once that's happened, the only thing that we can really do is get rid of the actual virus, but we can't decrypt your hard drive to get that information back. One of the other reasons it's very important to back up your information.
I'm glad you said that. Oh, go ahead, John.
One that I see quite often from just talking about the elderly folks is Microsoft, somebody trying to play Microsoft will call them and tell them they have a virus on their computer and they need access to the computer to get it off. Well, Microsoft is never going to call you. And I can tell you, I've been affiliated with Microsoft for more than 20 years. And there's one person from Microsoft that calls me, and that's my account manager. And they just do not call end users. And I've seen, some pretty high up folks, like a plant manager here locally, fell for that. Let them on his computer, and within 30 minutes, they were charging stuff over in London, like airplane flights, limos, hotel rooms. They got them for about $30,000 in just a few minutes. So, I mean, it's incredibly easy for them to do, but fortunately his bank backed them up and, reversed the charges, but still it's the hassle of having to go through that. You just kind of have to, play it smart. If it looks fishy, and I don't mean fishy, I mean, if it smells bad, stay away from it. Look at the grammar and the English they use in their mails. A lot of times you can tell that that English is not the person's first language. It's like, to me it sticks out. I've seen it so long, but just little details like that you can pay attention to.
When I get those phone calls at the chamber, my first call thing is I always tell them it's not true, because they would not contact, like you said. If it's something local, I always tell them I always give them the local number to go and call and check on before they do anything.
Hey, Shannon, I've got a question for them.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
I know that out there in the when you're trying to remember all your passwords, and they want strong passwords that are very difficult, especially on the computers. There now are programs that can be your password storage or your password locker. How do you guys feel about those, and do you have any that you recommend?
Good question.
Well, some of the things that I've done with passwords that I can remember them without using a locker is sometimes a phrase in a book that you like, maybe accompanied with a couple of numbers and punctuations. That way it's something that's easy to remember. It's something that kind of sticks with you. You can do different, of course, there's thousands of books out there. So some that you like, and there's thousands of phrases that you could use, almost at random. Like you could even use a phrase that may remind you of the place that you need to use that password. But, you know, you might replace like a 3 with an E or an E with a 3 or something of that nature to keep it worked up, to keep the numbers in, and maybe put a punctuation somewhere that's a little different. How about you, John? Any ideas of places, you know, for the lockers or things like that?
Yeah, there's a couple of them out there. The one that I use and I would recommend is LastPass, LASTPASS, LastPass. That is a cloud-based system that, you know, you have one password to remember and it remembers all your other passwords for you. And if you forget your password, they cannot recover it. So, I mean, it's gone if you forget it. But I've used that one for several years and it's helped me a lot because my feeble brain just doesn't work that good anymore.
What about the one that comes with your Apple phone? I'll be honest, I use it. So is that bad?
I won't touch the Apple. I pass all the Apple questions over to James.
You mean the suggestion that you have for the password?
No, I mean that it has a password locker included in your phone. So all the stuff that you have on your phone. Right.
I've not really used it, to tell you the truth. I've never had an iPhone. To give you an experience, I mean, I know they're a reputable company, so more than likely their software is good for that. But as for actually
technology,
yeah,
it's pretty new. I have to say within the last couple of years. Yeah, it's like an Apple, and it's not always up to date because I was trying to log on to some earlier using that, and you saw, James, it did not work because I had the wrong password, so it wasn't completely.
Well, as for protecting it, I'm pretty sure Apple is pretty mean about any kind of apps that come across their phones. They keep what we call a little sandbox and don't let anything usually outside of it in. And even to get something on the outside, you have to what they call jailbreak the phone to bring that software on. So if it's something that they have, they've probably thoroughly tested that. If it comes straight from Apple, I mean, I guarantee they have. Just as I've never used it before myself, I really can't tell you much more than that.
Mike, did that answer your question?
Yes, it did. Thank you very much.
All right. Well, is there any other questions from you guys? Are you all working from home? Somewhat still? Yeah, Francis, I know Alan and Sherry are. How about you, Donald? Are you home or a little bit of both? Well, I think we're all still doing a little bit of both. Just depends on the day, I guess. What about you, Alan?
Yep, we're at home. Have been since March 27th and doing quite well. And use Instacart to shop.
Awesome. Well, if we don't have any.
I'm still in the office, but I've got 4 of my guys that are working remotely, so we're kind of half and half here.
Is it? Yeah. I was telling them earlier, I'm working at the office, but I can close my door and nobody can come in here, so it's pretty secure. I get more done here than I do at my house where everybody's there. So for me, it's more productive here. So I only go home when I have to. Well, we're going to go ahead and wrap it up. And James and John, thank y'all so much. We're going to post this video up on our YouTube page, and I'll send a link out to y'all to let you know that it's available. And if you have an idea for another Business During Hours session, please let me know. We're happy to set them up. We're ready to schedule October. They're done at 2 o'clock, typically on a Thursday, but we'll do them on any day that's convenient for your business. And if you have something you'd like to share, just send it my way. Send me your idea, and we will schedule a time. Thank you, John.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Computer
Thank
Solutions.
Thanks, folks. Have a good day.
All right.
All right. Bye.